For those unaware, GambleAware have released their fifth and what appears to be their final report into the state of gambling within the UK, as they have released the annual GB Treatment and Support Survey 2024. And firmly in the firing line are prize draws, national lottery, to some degree, I guess, societal lotteries. I will dip into the report once we've just scanned over the top level figures within this article. But essentially, one of the conclusions of the research is that prize draws such as Omaze and McDonald's, so McDonald's are adding gambling on top of their junk food supply to the UK public, are normalising gambling, particularly for children and young people, a charity has warned. GambleAware said survey findings suggested a link between prize draws such as Omaze and McDonald's monopoly and gambling harm, with the latest data suggesting 27% of people who gamble are estimated to be experiencing a risk of problems from taking part in such games. Just to caveat that Hasbro have also licensed out the Monopoly brand to online slots and online casinos. So I don't see why that games company or that board game company should get away scot-free with washing their hands, because they're the ones who license this out. But it is a worry that prize draws and the National Lottery have been flagged up in this report as something that could be a risk for problem gamblers. So let's have a look here. And the report also suggested that they're finding that demand for treatment and support for gambling problems has almost doubled since 2020. It was 17%. So that's 1 in 5, and it's now 1 in 3, 30% who want treatment, support, and advice. And I think if we scan down here, the number of people affected by family or friends gambling has increased from 6.5% in 2020 to 8.1% in 2024, an estimated 4.3 million adults. So this rising tide of gambling harm and the normalisation of gambling within the UK market seems to be increasing. Again, without sounding like a broken record, I am not a prohibitionist. I am actually pro-gambling in terms of an entertainment form and enhancing aspects of leisure and media and sport. Haven't got a problem with it, but I do have a problem with this rising tide of gambling harm. And specifically when you look at the accessibility of mobile phones and the platforms to children, and things like this McDonald's Monopoly prize draws is something that is a worry as well. Let's dive further in. GambleAware Chief Executive Zoe Osman: gambling can be highly addictive with devastating impacts on people's lives, relationships and financial stability. And while it is encouraging that more people have sought help, this rise may also point to a growing public health crisis. And that's something that I do agree with as well. There is an acceptance of seeking help, which should always be encouraged, that the stigma of gambling harm shouldn't be hidden. And with that, you're always going to see an increase in these figures. So as well as the accessibility of gambling tools, support and advice for people, which should be there and present, both from the gambling operators and from the financial services companies and the host of charities that support the gambling industry as well. So it is something that needs to be looked at. I do believe that prize draws should be folded into the Gambling Commission and the remit of the Gambling Commission so that we can keep a sense of control over it. I do believe that Omaze are currently on a right streak at the moment. This is a report that they've done. It's 113 pages long. And what's really interesting here is in terms of the National Lottery. Let me just get it up here. I think it's number 39. So this is a section about prize draws and lotteries that I was reading, and you can see here prize draw participation. It speaks for itself, and it's interesting that McDonald's are the biggest prize draws operators in the UK. Always one of those interesting facts that you would probably say that it is Omaze, but McDonald's are infiltrating that, and companies as well like Ryanair and Amazon and EDF, all operating on normalising gambling, which, as again, I am not anti-gambling. I am just mindful of the impact gambling can have on people that could be affected by gambling harm. So it's interesting times. I'll put a link in the notes where you can access this report, and I would guide you specifically to pages 39 to 42 for the National Lottery as well, which makes interesting reading as they switch towards instant win and more casino-like app features and games. See you in the next one.